Day 2. So yesterday we talked about the causes of anxiety. So your job was to figure out where your anxiety is stemming from, whether it be predispositions, meaning just things that you were born with, just who you are that you really can't control, or lifestyle things, diet things, trauma in your past. So if you haven't figured that out, hold on a sec with this video and go back to that video and watch it and see if you can, and do all the content that goes along with that, with the email and like all the work for that. And then today we're going to talk about reframing. Okay, so reframing isn't really something to do with the environmental or toxins or diet, lifestyle, predispositions aspects, but it can help you with the trauma. And there was another section that we left out yesterday, which is a cause, overthinking, which overthinking does fall into the predispositions a lot of times. And well, I guess most of the time it can come from trauma, but most of the time it's going to be your predispositions, overthinking. So today the reframing section is going to be mostly focused on the overthinking and the trauma areas of anxiety. If your cause is environmental, lifestyle, all of that, this video is still going to help you with like understanding the mindset and how you need to reframe things around it to be more positive. But you're going to benefit more from the later videos also. But they're all important, okay? They're all important, so don't skip it. So reframing. Once you have your cause, meaning overthinking or trauma, in this sense mostly. Excuse me while I talk in circles. Then you want to take it and dissect it until you find the root, meaning where it stemmed from. And mostly when, now there's cat hair all over, flying all over the place. Excuse me, I'll go put the cat back outside again. Okay, so, where was I? Reframing, when you get to the root of what is causing your anxiety, like trauma or overthinking. All right, an example. Say you're afraid of driving, okay? Now, is it really that you're afraid of driving? Okay. Fears disguise themselves as one thing when they're actually another most of the time. For example, a fear of heights may actually be a fear of falling, okay? It's not actually the height that scares you, it's falling from the height, okay? A fear of driving may not actually be a fear of driving. It may be a fear of others' actions. It may be a fear of bodily harm to yourself or loved ones that frequently ride with you. It may be fear of the uncontrollable, or I don't know, just a second. Distrust in yourself or others. Okay, so really dissect where your fear is coming from, where it's stemming from, and see what you can find at the absolute base core of the fear, okay? And just, I mean, sometimes it may take days or even weeks for you to dissect it completely to where you finally found, because you'll think you found the bottom of it, and then you'll think about it some more and you're like, oh, wait. And that happens, okay? And, but what you just need to get as close as you can for the time being to the basis core aspect of it so that we can start to reframe it and feel better about it, okay? So, for fear of driving, for instance, and I use this one because it's one I see frequently. It's one I myself had, and it's an example that I'm very familiar with and can use. But if you need more examples, or if you need to talk it out, talk out your own fear in your own circumstances and stuff, to try and understand how to reframe it, then shoot me a message or put it in the comment section or whatever, and just get it in front of me so I can look at it and I can help you out with it. But so once you figure out that it's not a fear of driving, but it's a fear of, like, I think my own was distrust in my own abilities to drive. Okay, I totaled 2 vehicles in one weekend, and after that I just did not trust myself anymore to drive. And so once I figured out that it was not the driving itself, it was the distrust in myself that kept me from driving. And like, I would end up, every time I tried to drive, I would have to pull over because I was hyperventilating, I was having a panic attack, I was feeling lightheaded, like I might pass out. And I cried a few times. So once I figured out it was the distrust in myself and my own abilities, I could start focusing on not the driving, but on the distrust of myself. So if you're trying to cure a fear of driving through driving and whatnot, if you're trying to tackle the fear head on, but you're missing it because it's not actually the fear of driving, it's the fear is over here, and the fear is laughing at you because you're attacking that fear over there that it projected, okay? And it's just not effective. So I started, the way I reframed it is like, okay, do I believe, because you have to look at your beliefs, okay? Because fears, anxieties, like, the choices we make, the decisions we make, how we think, how we act, every single piece of everything that we are and we do in a daily basis, every day, every week, stems from our belief system, okay? Everything comes from our belief system. Everything. Whether you think it does or not, the decision to pick up the water bottle instead of the energy drink comes from our belief system. Like, everything in the world comes from our belief system. Okay, so reframing is all about identifying the fears, which are beliefs, because my fear of driving was actually the belief that I was incapable of safely driving, right? My distrust for myself. So that is the belief of I can't do it. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're reframing, is the belief system, okay? So you have to look at it and you have to break it down and like backwards engineer the fear and the belief. So the distrust in myself is the fear of driving. Okay, fear of driving is the distrust of myself. So to backwards engineer that, I have to find trust in myself. Do I believe that when I get in a vehicle, I am consciously and purposefully doing everything in my power correctly? All right. Yeah. I do the speed limit. I follow road signs, road rules, the laws. I buckle up, whatever. Yes. Logically, I do everything in my power to make sure that I'm safe. All right, cool. So you take that and you sit to the side for a second. Now, is there anything that you think you could do more to make yourself safe in this, like to trust yourself in this aspect? No, I pretty well think I do everything I can to be safe. All right. So you have done everything in your power. You believe you've done everything in your power. This should start, just this simple act of like identifying that it's the distrust or whatever, and actually speaking out into the universe, yes, I am doing my best, will make you calm down a little bit. All right. And then you have to look over here and you have to think about the things you can't control in life. All right. Some things we can control, some things we cannot. Are you okay with the fact that there are natural disasters that you can do nothing about? That's probably something that we can all agree on. Like, I mean, you can get into it deeper with like global warming and like what you can and can't do and to add to it and stuff. But we're not going to talk about that. It's just the base simple belief of there are natural disasters and there's nothing I can do to stop them. All right. Are you okay with that? Because, I mean, you probably are, right? Because I am. Natural disasters suck, but there's literally nothing on the planet that we can do personally to stop it. I cannot stop a tornado. I cannot stop an earthquake. I cannot stop anything, okay? And, like that. So, now you gotta take how you feel about that, okay? Think for a second how you feel about the tornado that you can't stop. And it's kind of a sense of peace, isn't it? Like it's for me anyway, it's a sense of kind of fear because, you know, I have anxiety around everything in the world. But at the same time, like, I've accepted the fact that I can't control that. All right, so now we're back in the vehicle and we understand that we are doing everything in our power to make sure that we arrive safely to our destination. All right. And we also understand that there are things in this world we cannot control. All right. And you just have to put those two beliefs together in the situation that you're trying to feel better about. Okay. And you have to keep them close at mind when you get in these situations that trigger your anxiety attacks. Okay. Excuse me. And where was I going with this? I got distracted for a second. You take the belief, you put it there. Crap, dude. Okay, so hopefully that helped you figure out a reframing technique around what you're working through in particular. Another thing, okay, I can give you another example instead of just driving. You just have to learn how to be okay with that, right? So I'm in the vehicle. I know when I get in the vehicle, I'm doing everything in my power. And I also know that there are some things that are going to be out of my control. But I promise myself that I will control everything that is in my control to the best of my abilities. And I trust myself to put my own safety and the safety of the loved ones in my vehicle with me ahead of everything, and I know I'm doing my best, okay? And you accept the fact, you believe yourself that you are trying, because why wouldn't you try, right? Why wouldn't you be doing everything you can in your own abilities to keep yourself safe? And just accept that there are things that you can't control. And will something happen that I can't control? Maybe. Maybe. Happens all the time, right? But I can't waste energy and resources worrying about it because it's unproductive. It's not going to do anything. It's all, they say that if you worry about something that may never happen, you suffer twice, okay? And quite possibly once unnecessarily. Because if it never happens, then you're still suffering once at least, and it's for no reason. So just keeping those things in mind, and it is harder than it sounds. Okay, I know I'm making it sound like, well, it's easy, you know, just do it. But I totally understand. It's a process, okay? This is where you start, and if you just keep that in mind every time, it will get a little bit better every time, okay? I have zero anxiety, almost, when I'm driving now, okay? Unless, like, someone pulls out in front of me, or someone hits their brakes really quickly, or, like, something, that's the only way I'm going to get any kind of anxious, but then it calms immediately back down. And that is a complete polar opposite effect to how it used to be for me, okay? So I know this is possible. I know you can do it because this is how I did it. And okay, but another example. All right, so we're going to talk about social anxiety. Okay, so social anxiety, how I started working through that was, okay, so is it the social interaction that I'm actually afraid of? No. Is it, because you just want to ask yourself questions around the fear until you figure out, at least sort of figure out what it's trying to tell you. Okay. Most of the time, social anxiety is not actual fear of people or talking to people, but more fear of judgment from others, or fear of failure, looking dumb, which probably also falls into judgment, that kind of stuff, right? What if I make a fool of myself? What if I'm annoying? What if whatever comes out of my mouth is weird? What if, I don't know, whatever, okay? We all have fears, we all have insecurities, and most of them are completely made up. So what helped me to reframe my social anxiety, one of the big ones, it was like, it's still big today, right? And for me, it was the realization that everybody's afraid of public speaking, okay? And that seems like a grand scale. You know, you take social anxiety and you're like, whoa, hold on, I'm just afraid to talk on the phone. What are you talking about public speaking? I am not interested in that. And I get it, but that was kind of one for me, right? So, but that just shows you like the grand scale of things, like it can go from one end to the other really quickly. It was a realization that everybody's afraid of public speaking. Nobody, literally nobody, likes to get in front of people and talk, okay? Or at least I've never met anybody. Even public speakers, I guarantee you, started out not wanting to get in front of people because we're afraid of failure. We're afraid of being judged. We're afraid of what the people in front of us may think. And but what helped me was realizing that everybody has this same fear. It's just a matter of doing it anyway. Okay, you're afraid, cool, do it anyway. Be afraid, do it while you're afraid. And that was the big thing that helped me get through my social anxiety. Like, honestly, it was that right there. Be afraid, but do it anyway. And but I know that's not as easily done as I make it sound out to be. Okay, I understand it's not a just do it type of thing. Okay, because a lot of these things aren't, especially when you're dealing with severe social anxiety. Like, I couldn't even talk to a cashier at a store. I don't know, literally couldn't make words come out of my mouth when I needed them to, okay? Most of my life, like, nothing came out. But anyway, so figure out, you know, is it the judgment that you're afraid of? Is it what they may think? Or is it fear of failure? You really don't care what they think? Because if you don't care what they think, great. You shouldn't. And learning how not to is how you're going to overcome that. But if you're not afraid of people's judgments, lucky you, and it is like fear of failure, and maybe it's your own judgments, like your judgments of yourself that you're afraid of, right? Then you just have to reframe that, okay? Understand that none of us are perfect, that nobody is perfect. Everybody has flaws, everybody has weird aspects, everybody has quirks and traumas and predispositions and everything. Like, we're so complex and so all so different, but we're all so similar at the same time, right? And understanding that there's beauty in flaws, there's beauty in broken, there's beauty in all of these things, helps you to reframe it and understand the situation in a different light. And when you can reframe it and look at things from a different light, it can really help you start to overcome the fear. Okay. While I wasn't speaking for, 23 years or whatever, I also wasn't smiling. Okay. I never smiled because my teeth were crooked. I had, I'm in the process of getting them fixed right now, so they're not near as bad as they used to be. But like this one right here stuck out, and if I smiled too long, my teeth would dry and then my lip would get stuck on it. Okay, how embarrassing! How embarrassing. So, and people made fun of me. I was bullied in school because of my teeth. My family constantly asked me when I was going to get them fixed. I mean, all of these things, I was already having a hard time in my own self, becoming okay with how I looked. But then I had other people constantly bringing it up, which just made it worse. So, but something in that sense, how I reframed that was, I learned that literally every physical aspect you can come up with at some point in time in history has been desirable. Okay, so the Japanese, I don't know if they still do, at the time that I found this and was doing all of this growth work and stuff, the Japanese, a lot of people will pay to crooked their teeth. Okay, whereas we pay to straighten our teeth, they pay to get their teeth crooked because it gives a childlike appearance, which makes them look young and desirable. Okay. I spent most of my life, when I did speak, I would force myself out of my thick Alabama accent because people at school made fun of it. Blah. I didn't like the way I talked, so I spent a lot of my energy trying to make sure I formulated my words correctly and articulated my sentences, to use proper grammar, to, whatever. And then I realized that just every accent out there has a fan club, okay? Every accent has a fan club. So just like the vast majority of us over here in this area where I live love like British accents and Australian accents, just for example, there are people out there who love Southern accents, okay? And so whatever your accent is, somebody out there loves it. No matter what your size is, somebody out there loves it. No matter what color hair you have, somebody out there loves it. Like, no matter what you got going on, somebody out there thinks it is absolutely adorable. Okay? And all you have to do is figure out how to get yourself to be okay with falling into that category. You can be like, I don't know how we got from, does this still count, y'all? Because this is a self-love lesson now, but it's still valuable, so we'll just go with it. You have to figure out how to be like, well, I may not be in the fan club of Southern accents, but I'm okay with having a fan club for me that likes Southern accents. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not in that club. I'm in that club, but it's cool that you like me because I am the subject of your fan club. You know what I mean? So it's all about reframing. Everything's reframing. And once you start learning to love aspects of yourself like that, your confidence is gonna grow, and then your social anxiety is going to lessen, okay? Because since you're not being so critical of yourself, other people are not going to be so critical of themselves, which is going to make them less critical of you, okay? Because the more you love yourself, the more it's going to show other people how to love themselves. And the more people love themselves, the less judgment and insecurities we all have on each other and ourselves. Okay? It's reframing. It's all reframing. So tell me in the comments or in a new post, but make sure you tag me in it. Wherever, send me a message. It doesn't matter. What you're working through, what fear you're working through, and how you think you can reframe it. And if you're not sure how you can reframe it, send me a message, drop it in the comments, put it in the post, whatever, and we'll help you figure out how to reframe it. All right? And it's really not that hard. It's a learning aspect, okay? It's a skill like any other, and it's going to help you so much in all areas of your life if you get used to reframing things to make them more positive, make them more understandable, make them more desirable, like whatever. Sure, there are bad things in the world, but we don't have to mope about them. We can like figure out how to make it okay enough to where we can maybe even be happy about it or whatever, you know. And you can't expect to go from the extreme point A to extreme point Z overnight or instantly or anything with any of these practices, okay? It's more like you start at point A, and then as you figure out how to reframe, you hit point B, and then you hit point C, and then you hit point D, and so on and so forth until you get to Z. And that's when it's not even an issue anymore. Like that's a thing of the past. Like I used to be afraid of driving. I used to have a social anxiety. I used to like whatever. And I used to be really self-conscious, you know, whatever. And but it's a process, and the more you work through it, the easier it's going to be, and the more progress you're going to see, and until you finally reach that point of being where you're happy and secure and peaceful, and you can relax, because it's such a weight off your shoulders when you can finally relax. But if you can't find something that's completely reframing, try to find something that's right next to it, okay? Like, going back to my teeth, just for example. Okay, right now, I don't like them. Instead of going from I don't like them to I like them, because that's conflicting, okay? Your head, your mind, your consciousness is gonna revolt against that because they know it's not true. You need to find something that's right next to it. Like, I don't like it, but maybe one day I can. Can that be true? Does that feel true to you? I mean, you know, stick your own example in the blank here. You know, it's just a formula. I don't like it right now, but maybe one day I can. I don't like it right now, but maybe there's something out there that can help me like it. I don't like it right now, but I'm making progress. I'm afraid to drive right now, but I believe that maybe one day I might not be. I'm afraid to drive right now, but I'm working on it. I'm afraid to drive right now, but I hope one day I'll figure out how not to be afraid to drive. You know, whatever. It doesn't have to be extreme, but we just want to start working on moving in that direction, okay? Because we need to be moving. We don't need to be stuck here in the fear. We need to be moving towards getting out of it. Okay, so do that. Figure out how to reframe, what we're working with. Let me know how you're doing with it, how I can help you further with it. If you need some one-on-one, then message me. It's fine. Seriously, it's fine. Please message me, and we will work through it, because I want you to feel easier, like more at ease and better and calmer and more relaxed, because let me tell you, it's so much better. It's so much better than being stressed out and anxious all the time. That's exhausting. That's exhausting, and we have things to do that require our energy, and we don't need to be wasting our energy on being stressed and exhausted. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling and talking and do all that, and I'll see you tomorrow.